Alberta, people are concerned about their jobs, and they're looking for leadership from this NDP government, and so far there's been none. This morning, Jack Mintz said that this government is going to need a specific set of policies to attract private investment to Alberta, or else, and I quote, "we're not going to get the jobs back in this province." To the Premier, since you must hear the same concerns in your office that I hear in mine, are you ready yet to reverse policies like the $15 minimum wage, the early shutdown of coal plants, the carbon tax and cancellation of contracts, all of which have driven jobs and investment out of Alberta?
Honourable Premier.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. In fact, our government has been working collaboratively with a number of leaders in industry to do exactly the opposite. What we are doing is trying to bring more investment to Alberta through a number of innovative programs. This session, you'll be hearing about tax credit programs asked for by business leaders that would incent investment and incent innovation. We are working, we've worked with ATB and AIMCO to make more capital available. We're making more investment income available. We're doing everything we can, Mr. Speaker, and we're pairing that with massive investment opportunities in capital and in renewable energy.
Thank you, Honourable Premier. Supplemental.
Mr. Speaker, people are starving because it's not working. This government recently increased its use of the term person years of employment to cover up the fact that their policies are costing more jobs than they are creating. When they opened the Northeast Anthony Henday, for example, a PC-started project, they said it created 10,000 person years of work, which is true. Of course, Albertans know that's 1,000 jobs for 10 years and 2,000 for 5 years, not really 10,000 jobs at all. Meanwhile, over 100,000 Albertans have lost their jobs.
That's right.
To the Premier, will you speak to Albertans in plain language about how you plan to replace those 100,000?
Thank you, Honourable Member. Honourable Premier.
Let me begin by saying, of course, that our government is acutely aware of the number of families in Alberta who are hurting as a result of jobs lost caused by the drop in the international price of oil, over which we have no control. But notwithstanding that, we know that it's our role to work with them. So we're not going to cut services. We're not going to add job loss with more job loss. We're not going to do any of that stuff. What we are doing is ensuring stability in public services while working on a number of different initiatives to create and generate employment, and we will continue to do that, Mr. Speaker.
Second supplemental.
Mr. Speaker, they're denying the fact. You're in denial that they're in denial of the fact that their policies are failing Albertans. The Premier and her ministers like to drag out the old chestnut that opposition parties will lay off teachers and nurses. So here's an easy question for the Premier on the first day of session. Given that your government ministers and MLAs are the only ones talking about firing frontline workers, will you commit today to not lay off or reduce the hours of teachers or nurses during this term of office?
Honourable Premier.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I really have to take umbrage with the premise of the member opposite's question, because quite clearly the budget that the member opposite ran on in the last election had $1 billion being lost and involved not hiring something like 1,100 teachers. So that was, for him to suggest that we are somehow going to reduce teachers makes no sense, Mr. Speaker. We are supporting public services. We are funding enrollment increases. We are maintaining public services, and we'll continue to do that, Mr. Speaker.